I'd first of all like to thank everyone from the IBM team who has joined us today to give us a hand with this webinar. On behalf of ISODC, the International Society for Organization Development and Change, I'd like to thank you for joining us to today's webinar. Please go to isodc.org and check out all ISODC has to offer. We are a very committed group of individuals trying to create positive change in the world. So today I would like to introduce our speakers. First of all, I would like to introduce my colleague and friend, Ron Koller. Ron is an organizational design change practitioner and researcher. He has been cleaning up change messes since the 1990s. Ron is following in the footsteps of his mentor, Kathy Dannemiller, and her mentor, Ron Lippett. His work focuses on earning a true commitment to important strategic organizational changes. Ron knows how to turn consistent disappointments into success. His clients make millions by achieving revenue and cost savings goals because their people support what they help create. I'd also like to welcome Hannah Beersdorf. Hannah is a senior change consultant at IBM. She has been at IBM for the past 3.5 years with a background in sales, client relation management, leadership development, and is now focusing on consulting with the change management practice. Hannah's professional passion is being a trusted partner to her clients and helping them solve their business challenges. Fun fact about her, she loves to travel, and she has been to 5 of the 7 continents and has seen 5 of the 7 new wonders of the world. Also, I'd like to welcome Rachel Reiss. Rachel is a senior change consultant and employee engagement lead at IBM. She has been at IBM for the last 3.5 years and served primarily in roles where she manages client relationships and builds the client's organizational change and transformation capabilities. Rachel has also worked internally as an offering team lead, as a coach, and currently as an engagement leader, managing our engagement strategy and the portfolio of initiatives. Her professional passion is enabling the success of others, whether it's as a trusted partner to her clients or a coach or a team member to her colleagues. Her personal passion is spending time outdoors. She lives in the Carolinas and hikes every weekend. And I am Kim Barker, and I am a vice president of the International Society for Organization Development and Change. I also am a full-time lecturer at Eastern Michigan University, and I'd like to welcome Ron to get us started.
Coach that you were talking to earlier, one of my buddies from the Hackett group, he is a graduate from the Eastern Michigan University.
Oh, yay! Go Eagles!
That would be Hurons.
So I see people are putting their emails in the chat to get into Mural. So I think with that, we'll on to the next slide, Kim. You want to talk about?
Oh, hello, Joseph. I saw Joseph too. He's a full-time lecturer as well at EMU. We have lots of really smart people on this webinar, Ron.
All right, Kim, you're up. Your slide.
So I would like to again invite you to check out the International Society for Organization Development and Change. We have global practitioners. There are collaboration opportunities, education opportunities. We have a newsletter, we have a magazine, we have webinars, we have conferences. We have a lot of support for scholars and practitioners to help strengthen their practices. And we are a fun group. So membership is very reasonable, and you definitely will get your money's worth. So check us out, if you would, on isodc.org. Oh, and I'd like to thank my husband, The handsome guy in the picture is my husband, Greg Barker, and he helps me with some editing capabilities. So I'd like to thank him in advance for all of his help.
All right, so if you think about, well, and we're doing large groups, so interactive large. I want to point that out because we've all been in webinars where it's 100, 500, 1,000 people, and it's a sit and listen, what I call a sit and listen kind of experience. So especially during the pandemic, if you think about the different types of sessions, there's traditional small group virtual webinar style sessions, the quadrant number one. And that's what most of us have been doing during the pandemic, right? We had small group meetings, everybody has cameras on, right? Because it's a lot of interaction, a lot of discussion. Then there's been quadrant two is most webinars, and it's what we refer to as a sit and listen type of activity. Now, how do we get this to be more interactive? Number three, a lot of us have been experiencing, whether it's Mural or Miro. Oh, my screen stopped sharing. I don't know why it did that. Mural or Miro, you can, we've all been on some kind of interactive experience where besides just talking, we've been able to put virtual post-it notes, or even Office 365. I did a session where we had 40 people and we did breakout groups, and they were in 4 different Microsoft Word documents. And after being in it for about 20 to 30 minutes in their breakout groups and doing the work that they did, a lot of them were like, I never knew I would actually enjoy being in a Microsoft Word document with 9 other people, but I did. That was actually a good breakout. That was actually a good breakout experience.
Hey, Ron.
So we have, yeah, go ahead.
How do you spell the other Miro? The other one.
M-I.
M-I-R-O. Okay. All right.
And there's 2. I mean, those are just the 2 biggest. There's new ones coming out all the time. And we're at IBM, we're agnostic. I mean, we just happen to have an enterprise agreement with Mural, so I'm able to use it and have guests and be able to have you come in. But what happened is our client asked us, hey, can these small group sessions you've been doing with us with Mural, we have about 15 large group sessions that we need to do. And this was end of March, beginning of April, right at the height of the pandemic. We said, maybe, and we decided to test it out. We said we would test it out on a Friday, and if we could do it, we would do the sessions then. So we tested it out, and it worked. At the time, Mural's got a book that they wrote a couple years ago called The Definitive Guide to Facilitating Virtual Meetings, and they recommend no more than 25 participants. If you go to the website, they actually say they've tested it with 100. I know some folks at IBM that have done 300, but again, it's all IBM. They're all on Google Chrome. I've also been on sessions where it's been 20 people and the technology has lagged, or either Zoom or WebEx wasn't working good. So we just got creative and said, okay, if you say 25, our first session was like 60. So instead of doing all 60, try and participate in group, it would be difficult to talk. So we split them up into 3 different groups, and we split them up into 3 different groups of 20, and that's what you're seeing right here. Now I'm zoomed all the way out. Those people are zoomed in, working like they would as if they were in a room, having post-it notes and standing around a table, putting post-it notes on a flip chart. It's almost the exact same experience. This is helping you understand that group sessions that you've all been doing for the last 6 months during the pandemic, the rules change when you get into the numbers of 100, or I mean, really it's 30 or more is what I say. But when you're in the numbers that we're at on this call, for example, we have 60 people. 60 people is just different. I mean, it's hard. Imagine if all 60 of us were trying to talk to each other at the same time. Over to
everyone. I'm Hannah Beersdorf. Thanks so much for joining us today. So what are some of the benefits of simultaneous mural breakout sessions? Well, it allows you to be connected, interactive, and productive. So connected, it allows collaboration across your multiple teams and job sites, especially in times of virtual necessity, like we are all experiencing right now during a time of COVID when we're all working completely remotely. It allows you to be interactive, fosters rapid creativity, focusing multiple teams towards their respective activities in an engaging environment. And it allows you to be productive. It drives fast-paced brainstorming, group discussion, and voting, and decision-making. So you go into these Mural breakout sessions, and you can have various activities going on. You can see the breakout groups, the 1, 2, 3, 4, and all the columns. But when you're in your breakout rooms, you have the ability to have a more personalized experience with a smaller group of your team. So everyone gets to share their ideas, and you get those real-time results. So what are some of those results? Next slide. To the results, the best part. So when we did this session, Ron and I, we weren't expecting a session with 60 people and all cameras off. We did not think it could be as interactive of an experience as it could. But with the WebEx capability of the breakout sessions and then doing our breakout rooms in Mural, when we asked our 60 plus participants about the experience they had, they walked away saying, great, good, informative, engaging, productive. And it was really cool of an experience to go in from, there's a lot of hesitation, a lot of, maybe a little fear. A lot of people going into these sessions had never used Mural before, had never used WebEx before. And it was cool to have the type of experience where you go in maybe at first not knowing exactly, how things are going to go or just how engaging it could be, and to walk away from a completely virtual session going, wow, that was really engaging, really productive. I got so much out of it. So out of these sessions, we were able to see incredible results.
Over to you, Rachel.
All right. Thanks, Hannah. And this is just an example of an agenda for one of these workshops and how you might transition between the large main room and the breakout sessions. And as you can see here, we had 12 overall breakout sessions and over 600 attendees. And since we used Mural as our virtual collaboration tool, you'll soon see when we transition over there that Mural has the ability to create different rooms and workspaces. But what we did was we kept all of those activities self-contained in one workspace, and we just broke that workspace chart up into separate sections. And so each group had their own designated section of the workspace to work in together. And one of the things to keep in mind, which is what we did in our workshop, is that when you go to the breakout portion, you will only need WebEx for audio purposes. So you start to direct your focus to the virtual collaboration tool. So you should have Chrome open, Mural open, and that's where all the action will be happening. And then afterwards, Ron will click a button, and just like you're shuffled over to the breakout session, you'll be brought back to the main room.
Wow.
Next slide. So these are just some of the lessons learned, and there's a lot here, but I'll kind of go over the top two for us. And the big one is cameras off, which actually might seem a little counterintuitive at first for an interactive session. And there's definitely a time and place for cameras on, but not for these things. We've noticed that there's typically some bandwidth challenges that occur when you have your video running at the same time as a WebEx and a virtual collaboration tool. And so we just encourage you to keep the focus on what's going on in the Mural rather than on each other's faces. And then the other thing is our last point here. So provide too many behind the scenes tech support, especially for stragglers. And so I think all of us can agree that it's always better to be over prepared and over equipped than under prepared and under equipped. And things happen. I'm sure all of us have experienced some sort of technology snag working remotely for the past, 8 or 9 months. And especially now that we're layering on multiple technologies together, it's really important to have some people lined up and ready to go and help those who might need help. And so, for example, when we've done these workshops in the past, we've always had a few people who were on call to handle those who weren't able to get into the mural or who might have had a poor audio connection and needed to dial in. Extra resources, the responsibility then kind of falls on the facilitators, which can be kind of difficult for them to play double duty.
A reminder again, if you're not in Mural yet, please put your email in the chat area, because we've even had 2 people that just joined in the last 5 minutes. So if you're not yet in Mural, please put your email in the WebEx chat, and one of our great members of our IBM team will help you get into the Mural. I do want to say that we're still experimenting. Like I said, the definitive guide to facilitating remote workshops says don't do more than 24. Mural on their website says don't do more than 100. I did have IBMer Slack me yesterday, and he said that they did a session with 300 and it was fine. So that do things like no video, everybody on Google Chrome. Because like I said, I was on a session with 20 people and it was awful because somebody was on Internet Explorer. So what I'm asking, you can see at the bottom here, is we've given you a lot of opportunity to get into Mural. We're going to be in there for about 20 minutes. So do me a favor, if you weren't able to get into Mural, if you didn't get the invite and you haven't put your email in the chat, actually, Rachel, go ahead and put the, if you could copy and paste the Mural link into the WebEx chat. I'll just ask you, if you click on that, you'll go in, you'll just be an observer. So sorry about that. If you couldn't get into Mural, I apologize ahead of time, but we don't want to spend 20 minutes trying to troubleshoot, trying to get you in. Instead, if you could just watch and learn while the other people are participating, that would be great. So in a minute, I'm about to click this slide where it says breakout session assignments. So I've been working on that behind the scenes. Mural or WebEx just started doing that. We were using WebEx training, and WebEx meetings just came out with it. So it's new technology. We expect to have hiccups. Definitely. Oh, Rachel, you just said check your spam folder. Oh, I stopped. The reason I say expect experimentation.
So Ron, you're going to put us in breakout rooms next?
Second, I want to share. I want to share my screen and walk people through so you can see it. So here's the mural, and as you can see, and a lot of times it gets me to this upper left corner and I'm like, what the heck? Like, well, where is everybody? And a real good tip is if you use the control plus or control minus, it zooms you in and zooms you out. Brief instructions. I'm about to put us in the breakout groups, and then you're going to go into Mural. So the first thing is zooming in and zooming out. You can pinch with your screen, but I like control plus or minus because it's real easy. How do you navigate? If you've got a trackpad, you use 2 fingers to swipe, but you could also use the arrow. So it's a little bit slower, but it works. And then how do you create a sticky note? You just double click. It's a simple, see, I just double clicked and that came up. There's also on the upper left-hand side, there's a whole menu where I can drag over different colored sticky notes. Your breakout group leaders are through this, but as soon as you go into audio that I'm about to hit, there's going to be 2 little windows that pop up, and one of them is going to say, do you want to go into this breakout session? And go ahead and click yes. And then it says, do you want to switch your audio? Go ahead and click yes. Then minimize your WebEx or move it to the side, because you don't want to be in WebEx. You want to be in Google Chrome, and you want to be in a browser, and if you had an email that says join the mural, go ahead and click join the mural. So I'm going to put us into the breakout sessions. So we'll see you back here in about 20 minutes. I'll roam around the breakouts and see how you're doing and try and help troubleshoot if anybody's having any trouble. But the next thing that you're going to hear is you're going to hear the voice of your breakout group facilitator, and they will walk you through what to do in the mural. We should be coming into the. All right, back. He's back in it. I wasn't sure. I didn't see the countdown. Back in the group of the 52, we started with 60, so some people, but let me put the slides back up. Had a good experience. Kim, you had a couple housekeeping things you wanted to mention at the end, right?
Yeah, I did. First of all, I just want to thank you guys. That was so much fun. I had a lot of fun. I want to encourage you all to check out ISODC. We also have a LinkedIn page, which is very active, and you know, there's just and then we do have a webinar coming up on December 10th, and Graham Williams, who's from South Africa, he is going to give us a copy of his book, everybody who attends, Ancient Wisdom for Modern Workplaces. So I invite you all to check that out.
Hey, Kim, post the link in the chat.
Okay, I will do that right now.
Yeah, if you could do that. And then I really want to thank the breakout facilitators. Without them, possible way. You all don't know this, but they're half my age and twice as smart. And I'm barely learning to do this. I actually did the breakout sessions this time, and I'm sure everybody was nervous that I was going to break it. But it actually worked because they're the smart ones. They're the ones that made it all happen. They're the ones that did everything behind the scenes. So thanks to Jenny and Sanjana, Christina, Allison, Taylor, Katie, Hannah, Rachel. I just want to thank the team. Without the team, this stuff doesn't work. And then just sort of want to open it up, maybe in the WebEx chat, if you could put one word that describes your experience that you had today, or any thoughts or reactions that you had. I mean, we still have 5 minutes left, so we're on schedule, quote, so to speak. So if anybody has any thoughts or reactions you want to say, go ahead and unmute yourself. I know it's tough in a group of 50, but what the heck? Any thoughts, reactions, questions? You can put it in the chat.
This was very informative and engaging. Certainly very fun to see the capabilities, not only of the mural, but also the way that you were able to do the breakout sessions. So it certainly provides a lot of perspective about future opportunities from my own personal experience.
Mr.
So thank you to you and the team.
Mr. Thank you. Thank you for attending. And in the chat too, any thoughts, reactions, anything to describe your experience here today, maybe what you learned?
Oh, somebody had a question about using Firefox.
Yeah, I mean, they recommend using Firefox, but again, I'm just super because I've been on some sessions that were horrible, absolutely terrible. You would click a Post-it note and it would take 3 seconds for it to show up. You try to type something, it'd take 3 seconds, they would experience lag. So I'm just superstitious and I do Chrome, but Mural says either Chrome or Firefox works fine.
Okay.
And I think Steve's on, he'd probably tell you that, Steve from Mural. He'd probably say either one's fine. Steve? Steve, you're on mute. Oh, that. Any other thoughts?
Ron, I was on mute. I would echo what you're saying. Absolutely.
Okay, great. Thanks. Steve from Mural, everybody. Steve Schlab. So if you have any questions about Mural, you can Steve. I'm sure he wasn't happy when.
Hi, Steve from Mural.
Oh, that's why Steve was such a pro in our group.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
I'd love to hear some. Oh, go ahead, Ron.
No, I just wanted to thank, I had some friends from the place I used to work, the Hackett Group. So Scott Lucher and Raphael Crumbly and Tom Stuck. So thanks guys for appreciate it. Rollin Sullivan is a living legend in the OD community. I'm so thrilled that you came, Roland, and I appreciate it.
I do want to say,
I'm
oh,
kind
go
of
ahead.
lost here, but that's all right. I'm just learning.
Absolutely. We're all, I said before the session that it's either going to be a unmitigated disaster or a success, and either way, we're going to learn something.
And I think it was a success.
Okay, thanks.
Can I ask a question about is this a free software, or they usually have like a free version and then they have the more premium version, which is probably what you were using, or is there a difference?
Thank God Steve's here. The guy from Mural, he can explain that because I don't know.
Yeah, there's a trial version, but we don't have a freemium model, but there are definitely different versions, if you will. And of course, the one you're using with IBM today is an enterprise. And just a little plug, when you did a search on the image, if you guys use that, that's powered by Watson.
Oh, too. Thanks to all the IBMers that showed up. You guys were strong. I really appreciated that. A lot of IBM people, not just the team that helped us, but people that showed up as participants. Thanks so much for showing up. I really, really appreciate how many IBMers showed up as well. That was really, really cool.
Ron, I saw a question. Somebody wanted to know for recording, does the host control that? Like if you wanted to record a session or something like that?
The way, I mean, I'll get the recording out for the first half of it. It'll come to me as an MP. And we'll, because when we go into the breakout groups, it stops recording, then it starts when I go back into the main group. Because, and just so all you know, you could see me going from group to group just to try and troubleshoot. It is impossible to get everybody into Mural in a large group ahead of time. I'm just going to tell you that right now. So that's why you need the army of people to help. I mean, Kim sent out instructions on how to use Mural, but it's just everybody. I mean, if everybody had time, they would have looked at that link in the reminders that she sent, or they would have seen the PowerPoint that she sent earlier today, and they could have learned it. But people are busy. And so that's why we spend time knowing that there's going to be people not in Mural. That's why we had 7 or 8 people behind the scenes getting you into Mural. And that's why we start out trying to teach you how to use Mural. Because that's something different. When we had a group of 16, Rachel and I were working with Progressive 2 years ago. She got everybody in 2 days before, no problem. Why? Because she could call up 16 people and she could get them in. Well, you can't call up 200, and that's how many registered for this. I know we just had 60, but still, in large numbers, things are different. It's just small group versus large group. Things are definitely different. Words, Kim. I'm going to close this down.
I want to encourage everybody to call someone who would like to hear from you today. I promise it will make both you and them feel great.
And
my final words are, this is amazing. This is incredible.
Thanks, Ron.
Ron and IBM, you got the cloud mastered. You are the future for organization development, and this is so it's wonderful. So keep up what you're doing. What I'm concerned about these days is saving the earth. I believe we've got 8 months to reverse, and so my daughter and I, we just did large 2 open space large groups online, 200 presenters, 90 systems. And we videoed every session, and there was 500,000 downloads for each session. So that's where I am. That's what I'm going on. and now I gotta figure out how Ron can help the world.
He
Problem.
already is.
All right.
He already is.
Everybody have a wonderful weekend. Goodbye. Thanks for coming and experiment with this and keep kicking this down the road and help us learn how to do this better. Bye, everybody. Great experience. Thank you.
Everyone.